There's a reason this video found you today. Not because the algorithm decided to show you this, but because something inside you recognized the frequency before you even read the title. This message doesn't appear randomly. It finds people carrying weight they've been holding so long, they forgot it wasn't theirs to carry. Weight that was placed on their shoulders when they were too young to understand. It wasn't their fault, too small to fight back, too innocent to know that what was done to them would shape every relationship, every choice, every moment of self-doubt for the next 30, 40, 50 years. You've been living with this for so long that you've convinced yourself it's just who you are, that the pain is part of your personality, that the wounds are your identity, but they're not. They never were. And this video must find you now because you're finally ready to hear something that will either break you open or set you free. The cycle ends here, not someday, not when you're healed enough. Right now, in this moment, you're about to break the cycle that's been running through your bloodline, your relationships, your entire life. And it starts by finally seeing what you've been carrying. Let me tell you what nobody tells you about trauma. It doesn't just live in your memories. It lives in your body, in the way you flinch when someone raises their voice, in the way you apologize for things that aren't your fault, in the way you can't accept love without waiting for the other shoe to drop, in the way you sabotage good things because deep down you don't believe you deserve them. That's not you being difficult. That's not you being broken. That's your nervous system running a program it learned when you were 5 or 10 or 15 years old. A program that says the world isn't safe, that people will hurt you, that you have to be perfect to be loved, that your needs don't matter, that speaking up means punishment. And you've been operating from that program ever since, making adult decisions with the emotional software of a traumatized child. And you didn't even know it was happening because trauma doesn't announce itself. It just becomes the background noise of your entire existence. And here's what makes it so insidious. The people who hurt you, they were probably hurt too. Your father who couldn't show affection, he learned that from his father. Your mother who was emotionally unavailable, she was probably neglected herself. The person who abused you, who violated your trust, who made you feel small and worthless, they were likely carrying their own unhealed wounds. And I'm not saying that to excuse them. I'm saying it so you can see the cycle. This pain, this pattern, it didn't start with you. It's been passing through generations like a curse nobody knew how to break. Your grandmother carried it, your parents carried it, and now you're carrying it. And if you don't stop it, if you don't face it, if you don't heal it, you'll pass it on too. Maybe to your children, maybe to your relationships, maybe just to future versions of yourself who deserve better. But it will continue unless you decide right here, right now, that it ends with you. So let me paint you a picture. Imagine you're walking through life carrying a backpack, but this isn't a normal backpack. It's filled with rocks, heavy, jagged rocks, and each rock represents something that was done to you. The father who said you'd never amount to anything, the mother who was too depressed to see you, the person who touched you when you didn't want to be touched, the relationship that convinced you that love meant pain, the childhood where you had to grow up too fast because the adults in your life couldn't be adults. Rock after rock after rock. And you've been carrying this backpack for so long that you don't even remember what it feels like to walk without it. You've built your entire life around the weight. You've convinced yourself that this is just how heavy life is, that everyone carries this much, but they don't. And the worst part? Most of those rocks, they were never yours. They were handed to you by people who were carrying their own backpacks and didn't know what else to do with the weight. So they gave it to you. A child. Someone who couldn't say no. Someone who couldn't understand that this wasn't normal. And you've been carrying their pain ever since, thinking it was yours, believing you deserved it. Now, here's where this gets uncomfortable, because I need to tell you something. And you might not be ready to hear it, but you need to hear it. It wasn't your fault. Whatever happened to you, whatever was done to you, whatever you endured, it wasn't your fault. And I know, you've heard that before. I know people have said those words and they bounced off you like they meant nothing because deep down you don't believe it. Deep down, there's still a part of you that thinks if you had been better, smarter, quieter, more obedient, more lovable, it wouldn't have happened. But that's the lie trauma tells you. That's the story the wounded child inside you has been repeating for decades. And it's time to stop believing it. Because that child, that innocent version of you who experienced things no child should experience, they didn't do anything wrong. They were just a kid, a beautiful, innocent, deserving kid who got hurt by damaged people in a damaged world. And they've been waiting all these years for someone to tell them it's okay, that they're safe now, that they're loved, and that someone is you. Let me tell you about a man I know. Let's call him David. David is 52 years old, successful career, good family. From the outside, everything looks fine. But David has spent his entire adult life feeling like he's not enough, like he's one mistake away from everyone realizing he's a fraud, like he doesn't deserve the good things he has. And he couldn't figure out why, until one day in therapy, he was asked to close his eyes and picture himself as a 7-year-old boy. And when he did, something broke open. He saw that little boy sitting alone in his room, trying to be perfect, trying to be invisible, trying not to upset his alcoholic father. And he realized that 7-year-old was still running his life, still trying to be perfect, still afraid of making mistakes, still believing that love was conditional. That boy had been carrying the weight of his father's anger for 45 years, thinking it was his job to manage everyone else's emotions, to never need anything, to always be okay. And David, at 52, finally looked at that 7-year-old and said something no one had ever said to him. It wasn't your fault. You didn't deserve that, and I'm going to take care of you now. And he wept, not because he was weak, but because that child inside him had finally been seen. This is the work. This is what breaking the cycle actually looks like. It's not about forgetting what happened. It's not about pretending it doesn't hurt. It's about finally seeing the wounded child inside you and offering them what they never received: compassion, safety, love. And it starts with a practice that might feel strange at first, but I promise you it changes everything. Find a picture of yourself as a child, the youngest one you have, and I want you to really look at it, not with judgment, not with the eyes of someone who spent years hating themselves, but with the eyes of someone meeting a child for the first time. Look at that face. Look at those eyes. Look at that innocence. And ask yourself, would you hurt that child? Would you blame them for what adults did to them? Would you tell them they deserved it? No, you wouldn't. Because you can see what you couldn't see about yourself, that they were just a kid, pure, innocent, undeserving of pain. And that child is still inside you, still carrying the wounds, still waiting for you to see them, to tell them they're safe now, to tell them it's over. Here's what you do. Put that picture somewhere you'll see it every day, on your mirror, on your desk, on your phone. And every time you feel that old shame rising, every time you hear that voice telling you you're not enough, every time you feel the weight of what was done to you, I want you to look at that picture, and I want you to speak to that child. Out loud if you can, silently if you must, but speak to them. Tell them, you didn't deserve what happened to you, but I'm going to make sure your life is different now. I'm going to give you the love you should have had. I'm going to protect you. I'm going to let you be happy because you deserve it. You always did. And at first, it's going to feel ridiculous. It's going to feel like you're talking to a photograph, but keep doing it because slowly something shifts. That child inside you starts to believe it, starts to feel safe, starts to trust that maybe, finally, someone is going to take care of them, and that someone is you. Now, let's talk about the thing no one wants to talk about: forgiveness. And I need you to hear me clearly on this. Forgiveness is not about them. It's not about saying what they did was okay. It's not about reconciliation. It's not about letting them back into your life. Forgiveness is about releasing the hold they have on you. Because right now, whoever hurt you, they're still controlling your life. They're still taking up space in your head, still dictating how you feel about yourself, still affecting your relationships, your choices, your peace. And they might not even know it. They might be dead. They might have forgotten what they did, but you're still carrying it. You're still letting what they did 30 years ago determine who you are today. And forgiveness is how you take that power back. It's how you say, what you did was wrong. It hurt me. It shaped me in ways it shouldn't have. But I'm not going to let it define the rest of my life. I'm not going to give you any more of my years. This ends now. And here's the part people struggle with most. You have to forgive yourself too. Because I know you've been blaming yourself. I know there's a part of you that thinks you should have been stronger, should have said no, should have left earlier, should have known better. But you were doing the best you could with what you knew at the time. You were surviving. And survival is not pretty. Survival is messy and complicated, and sometimes it means making choices you wish you hadn't. But you made it through. You're still here. And that child inside you who made those choices, who stayed in situations they shouldn't have stayed in, who believed lies they shouldn't have believed, they were just trying to survive. They don't need your judgment. They need your compassion. They need you to look at them and say, I forgive you for not knowing what you couldn't have known. I forgive you for staying when you didn't know how to leave. I forgive you for believing you deserved it. You didn't, but I understand why you thought you did, and I'm going to help you see the truth. Now, here's what happens when you do this work. When you finally see the wounded child inside you. When you speak to them with love. When you forgive yourself and the people who hurt you. Not for them, but for you. Something extraordinary happens. The weight starts to lift. Not all at once, not overnight, but slowly. You start to notice you're walking lighter, breathing easier, reacting differently. That hair trigger anger that's been protecting you for years. It softens. That wall you built around your heart, it starts to come down. That voice that's been telling you you're not enough, it gets quieter because you've finally given that wounded child what they've been desperate for all along. A parent, a protector, someone who sees them and loves them exactly as they are. And that someone is you, the adult you, the version of you who survived everything that happened and is still here, still standing, still capable of breaking this cycle. And breaking the cycle doesn't just change you, it changes everyone who comes after you. Your children, if you have them, they won't inherit this wound. Your relationships, they won't be haunted by ghosts of the past. Your future self, they won't be running from pain that happened decades ago because you decided to stop, to turn around, to face the thing you've been running from your entire life. And in facing it and finally giving yourself the love and compassion you deserved all along, you break the chain. You become the one who says, it ends here with me. I will not pass this on. I will not let this define one more generation. This stops now. Now, if this is landing, if you're feeling that recognition, that uncomfortable truth settling in your chest, I want you to do something. Go to the comments and type 4 words. I break the cycle. That's it. No explanation, no story, just those 4 words. Because when you declare it publicly, when you name it, you're not just acknowledging what happened. You're claiming your power to change it. You're saying, I see the pattern, I understand the wound, and I'm choosing to heal it. Not just for me, but for everyone who comes after me. And if you know someone's still carrying trauma they've never spoken about, someone still blaming themselves for what was done to them, someone who needs permission to finally heal, share this with them. Ask them to write it too. I break the cycle. Because sometimes we need to hear that we're not alone in this, that healing is possible, that the cycle can end. Subscribe if you want to stay connected to this work. And if supporting through Super Thanks feels right, it directly fuels more content like this. But real talk, the fact that you're here watching, listening, I don't take that for granted. Thank you. The truth is, you've been carrying weight that was never yours for far too long. Rocks that were placed in your backpack by people who didn't know what else to do with their own pain. And you've been so focused on just surviving the weight that you forgot you could put it down. But you can, right now, in this moment. You can look at each rock, acknowledge what it represents, thank it for trying to protect you, and let it go. You can see the wounded child inside you, the one who's been waiting all these years to be loved, and finally give them what they need. You can forgive the people who hurt you, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve to be free. You can forgive yourself for carrying this as long as you did, for believing the lies, for thinking you deserve the pain, and you can make a choice that changes everything. The cycle ends here with you, not because you're perfect, not because you've healed completely, but because you finally decided that the pain stops here, that you will not pass this wound to another generation, that you will not let what was done to you define who you become. This video must find you. Not to fix you, you were never broken, but to remind you that you have the power to heal, that the child inside you is still waiting, that forgiveness is possible, that the weight can be put down, that you're not defined by what was done to you, and that the cycle, the pattern, the pain that's been running through your family, your relationships, your entire life, it can end right here, right now, with you. You just have to decide to see the child, to offer the love, to release the weight, to break the cycle. And when you do, when you finally let yourself heal, you won't just change your life. You'll change every life that comes after yours. Because you decided that the pain stops here, that this generation will be the one that finally breaks free. And that decision, that choice, that moment of courage, it changes everything. The cycle ends with you, and everything that comes after will be different. Not perfect, but free. Finally, beautifully free.